Hello, welcome to this video replacing class today. So, because I'm missing class and I rarely cancel class, I can't really remember the last time I did. I felt like I owed you guys some explanation, so that's what I'm doing here. I wanted to just give you a quick little rundown on why it is I'm not in class today. Of course, not that anybody asked me for an explanation, but I know that when I was a student, I always kind of wondered, well, what's the deal here? Why is class canceled or whatever? So anyways, what you see there in front of you is a picture of people jumping out of a C-130 Hercules airplane, which is something I've done quite a bit in my life. As some of you know, when I graduated from college, I went into the Army, and I was one of the very first women that they put in the 82nd Airborne Division, which was super cool, and I am very proud of it, and I loved it. I loved being in the 82nd. I got to do some really fun stuff, like the parachute pack platoon leader for the whole 82nd. We packed all the parachutes for the whole division, which was really cool, and an opportunity that many people never get in their life. So I loved the job, and I loved learning about leadership, which was what I really spent a lot of time doing. But in the Army, a big part of leadership is leading by example, and always being there for your soldiers. And so when you're leading by example in the Army, you've got to do a lot of pretty physical things. And so in the case of the 82nd, they do a couple things a lot. One is run, and one is jump out of airplanes. So that's what I did. I did a lot of running, and I did a lot of jumping out of airplanes. And again, back to the leadership thing, part of being a good leader is leading by example. And so I needed really to earn my senior jump wings, because then I could be responsible for bringing my soldiers out in a plane and having them jump. And that is a very important thing in the Army. So over time, I did indeed jump a lot, and honestly, I loved it. And when I was 21 years old and 22, 23 years old, I spent an inordinate amount of time exercising and being in shape and doing pull-ups and lifting weights and running and you name it. And honestly, I never felt like I would have any sort of lasting result of all of my jumping. I had one jumping sort of a quasi accident, wasn't really even an accident. I lost my air, which means, as you see in front of you, there's all those parachutes in the sky. That's a mass tactical jump. So it is easy to lose your air, but usually when you lose your air, you just catch it back again, so you just sort of leapfrog below the person above you, which is fine, except for if that happens to you too close to the ground. And in that case, you hit the ground awfully hard. And in my case, that's what happened. I hit the ground too hard, and it ended up having some lasting detrimental effects to my back. So most of the time I'm okay, but sometimes my back just goes crazy. And I went on a really long run this weekend, and probably that is what did it. So I'm really sorry to miss class, but honestly, I wouldn't change what I chose to do for everything in the world, even when I'm in this much pain. And ultimately, I felt like I was a good leader to my soldiers. I got my senior jump wings, and I could jump master an airplane. And to me, that was a rite of passage that was just worth its weight in gold. So there you go. That's why I'm missing class today, because I can't really stand and I can't really walk. So hopefully I'll be fine later this week. Certainly I expect to have class on Thursday. I'm going this afternoon to a sort of an emergency appointment to a pain clinic where they can usually, inject something or burn the nerves or something to make it stop hurting. So anyways, that's why I'm not in class today. And I'm really sorry, because I I feel a moral obligation to have all my classes. So I'm replacing class today with a video. So that's the story on why I'm missing class. And now I'm going to move into a few administrative things and the information. So first, the administrative things. I posted on Blackboard that the take-home test is printed and outside my office door. It is, and it is sitting there, and I can hear people actually as I'm making this video out there, coming by and picking it up. So it's available. It has all of the chapters except chapter 14. So by all means, swing by, pick one of those up, get to work on it, and of course, bring your questions to class on Thursday. We will have some extra office hours in the library, like we've done before, next week. So don't worry about that. Of course, the more you do on the take-home, the better off you're going to be for the review sessions and all that sort of stuff. So that's one administrative announcement. And then the second administrative announcement is, in conjunction with this little video, is going to be a quiz on Blackboard, just so that you have an opportunity to earn the clicker points that you would earn in class. And so once you watch this video, or at the same time you're watching it, however, you can do the Blackboard quiz and get your clicker points that way. All right, so with that, let's go ahead then and turn our attention to chapter 12. So for chapter 12, what I had planned on doing today in class was to go over some of the key concepts from chapter 12, and I was going to do that sort of in the form of these clicker questions. So instead of asking clicker questions, because I can't, I'm going to just talk to you about each question and what is the right answer and why it's the right answer and sort of how to think about it. If anything, it's probably the best review you could have for the test. So here we go. So the first thing I was thinking about as being really important for you to understand is the service level. In an ROP problem, the service level is always going to refer to the percent of customers for whom the product or service should be delivered or is promised. That's what the service level is. It's not the percent of customers whom the product or service is not promised. So that would be the opposite, right, of the service level. That would be the stock out rate. This B would be the stock out rate. And then the quantity that minimizes holding and ordering costs, well, that is going to be the economic order quantity. So the service level is always going to refer to the percent of customers for whom the service is going to be delivered and who was promised. Now in this question here, the economic order quantity, as demand or holding costs increase, so for this one here, I wanted you to understand the important concept that when EOQ is set, it will increase if demand increases. It will also increase if ordering costs increase, which makes sense, right? Because the more it costs to place a single order, then the more you're going to want to order at once. Otherwise, it will be more expensive. So when the model minimizes holding costs and ordering costs, it only makes sense that as demand or ordering costs increase, then we expect EOQ to go up as well. It doesn't go up exactly proportional, but it will increase. However, when holding costs increase, the EOQ will actually decrease, and it doesn't decrease at the same rate at which the holding costs had increased, but it will decrease. It will indeed decrease. It's just not necessarily proportional. So just remember that when EOQ increases, remember that when demand increases, the EOQ will increase, and when ordering costs increase, the EOQ will increase. However, when holding costs increase, the EOQ will generally decrease, but not at the same rate as the holding costs. So number 2 there is the right answer, but that's an important concept. So much so that I'm going to pause here and show you on my iPad exactly how that works. So here is an example of what happens when the holding cost change in the EOQ model. So here is the original problem that we had in the handout, where we had the annual demand of 2,000 multiplied times 10 divided by 50 cents was the holding cost, and we get a EOQ of 282. But when we change the holding cost to 2, so we've increased them significantly, of course, the demand, or the EOQ, will go down, but it doesn't go down by exactly the same proportional amount, right? Because essentially we've tripled our holding costs, but the EOQ doesn't get reduced by the same relative percentage, let's just say. Okay, so when holding costs increase, EOQ goes down. We say that's an inverse relationship between holding costs and ordering costs. And when demand or shipping costs increase, EOQ will also increase. Again, not exactly proportional, but it will definitely increase. So another problem I wanted to work with you today was this one here in example 2. The first line there you see is the way we did it in class. When the demand is 10, daily demand is 10 and the lead time is 6, we have a reorder point of 93. However, when we switch it over to this new lower lead time of 4, then we change our ROP down to 73, and that's largely a result of the reduced lead time here. That's the only thing that really changes, is that red 4. So we're changing this part here in the beginning, the demand times lead time part. So lead time can have a pretty significant impact on our reorder point, and that's because the lead time, the more days the lead time is, then we have to add in the daily demand for each day that the lead time passes. And so in this case, where it got reduced by 2 days, well, then it changes the reorder point down pretty significantly, down from 93 to 73. And then in this problem, which is very similar, here they tell us that the daily demand is 12,500, the lead time is 4 days with a standard deviation of 1, the service level is set at 97%. So we do that exactly the same way. We add in the daily demand here, we multiply times the lead time, we've got the Z value for 97%, times the average daily demand of 12,400, times the standard deviation of the lead time, which is 1. Sorry about that. And that should be 73,500. So that would be the answer then to problem number 12.33. And then just as a way of review, here are just some various solutions that I took actually from the textbook on some of the problems. Just so you have it, if you wanted to check any of your answers, or if you couldn't get something to work out, you could always take a look at this. It might help you some. So I thought that would be useful. So as a way of review from chapter 12, I just want to make sure that you understand that you really need to know the terms and the models in chapter 12, all the ones we've discussed. So that is all the EOQ models and all the ROP models. There are some other models in chapter 12 that you do not need to worry about. One is the ABC model, one is economic production quantity, which we don't do, that's EPQ. But otherwise you should know how to do the models as well as understand the terms. I have on here that you should do the discussion questions. Really do the discussion questions. So the discussion questions are what I use to write the questions for the test. The theory questions, I always do that, so make sure you understand them. I have them listed as number 4, number 6, 11, 12, and 13. So those are the kinds of things that you need to make sure you can articulate and that you understand. Make sure you understand what the assumptions of the EOQ model are, that they're listed. I've gone over them. Make sure you know them. be able to compute the total cost and the total cost with discounts. That's in the packet. And then all the ROP problems with variable demand, variable lead time, and both variable demand and lead time, again in the packet, and some example problems. And then, for practice work, the problems listed on the syllabus. And then if you can do all that stuff, you should be able to whip right through chapter 12 without any issues. And so with that, I'm going to end the video here, and we will do chapter 14 in class on Thursday. So there is no real homework except for to do the short little quiz on Blackboard. And the quiz will be open from today through the start of class on Thursday. So you need to make sure you take it between now and before class starts on Thursday. Okay, again, I'm sorry for missing class, and I will see you soon. Bye.